Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of 10 Unedited Minutes with Marlena. It is Friday, the last day of July, and it is a little bit later in the afternoon today because I had some other priorities that I had to get done this morning. So, I want to start off by saying something. So, yesterday I was in my car, and whenever I'm in my car, I try to listen to these podcasts, and when I press play on, I don't remember which one it was, when I press play on one of my podcasts, like when I said, "Good morning, everyone," I sounded like I was still sleeping. So I'm going to try to be a little more animated, I guess, in these podcasts. So let's start that today. Today's podcast is brought to you by my dear friend, Rebecca Conklin-Kleibomer. Rebecca has agreed to sponsor 2 months worth of my episodes, and she did so because she loves me, she believes in this work, and she wants to see it continue. And so to honor my friend Rebecca, I decided that we would just spend a few minutes at the beginning of each episode just kind of loving on her, honoring her, maybe sharing a fond memory of our friendship. We've been friends for a very long time. And I intentionally saved the last 28 days, I guess, for something special. And that is to read love letters. And back in 2017, Rebecca dedicated the month of February, which is the month of love, to writing a love letter every single day. And she wrote them to people that had great meaning, great impact in her life. And so today's, she wrote on February 14th, which is Valentine's Day. And she intentionally saved this day for a love letter to her husband, Dan. And if you've been following along, you know that I pre-read these letters every day before I come on here and record. But today I started to read it and I was like, man, I really should just raw read this so you guys can get my reaction too. And so I started to read it and I got halfway through and I said, nope, I'm going to quit. So I've only read the first half of this letter, pre-read the first half of this letter. And I want you all to have similar reactions to me because I think this letter is one that's very special to Rebecca. Her and Dan have such a beautiful relationship. And after you hear this letter, you will be probably even more in awe of the relationship that they have. And I admire their relationship. So we're going to read the letter to Rebecca's husband, Dan. She wrote it on February 14th, and it says, "Dear Dan, I am so glad that you warned me that you would be in a Pakistan port today and not likely able to have our once-a-day brief online chat. Too busy moving cargo and too many cranes blocking the satellite signal and too little time to even eat or sleep. All night long, I've been mustering the courage to write you a love letter today, to wish you a happy Valentine's Day, to effuse about how dearly I love you, when I know I won't get those few lines of text that are my lifeline each and every day of our separation during your sea voyages. I have the utmost faith that you've already arranged for some spectacular bouquet of flowers to be delivered to me. I hope you found the Valentine card I tucked into your suitcase before you left, but that was like 6 weeks ago, and I can't even remember if it was a giggly, goofy one or a mushy, romantic one. I do know that either sentiment would be a perfect fit for us, since that kind of versatility is a requirement for the kind of life we have. I get asked a lot about how we do this, how we have a loving marriage when we are separated by a whole ocean and a few seas at least half of the year. Most of the time I quip in reply that I don't know how couples put up with each other every single day with no break. But the truth is, this is just our life. This is your profession. This is how we take care of our family. This is how we get to enjoy so many adventures This is also how you folks get all of your stuff, by the way. You're welcome. In many ways, we're muddling through the challenges and joys of marriage just like any other couple. The question persists, though, because we are indeed in a unique situation that most people do not experience. People seem to want to know the particulars, the logistics, the actual method we use to cope with these constant transitions, all of the missed holidays and occasions, the solo parenting. First, I'll tell them, and this is where I stopped reading, Rebecca. Lots and lots of great sex. Happy now? Isn't that the key to any good marriage? Obviously, that's not the whole answer. But holy cow, people, if you have to have that kind of months-long interrupted sex life, have it with a mariner ashore. Beyond this point, there be dragons, saith the old sea charts. How we do this is the same and only way we've ever done any part of our friendship or our relationship or our parenting partnership, whether we've been together or apart the last 20 plus years, with love. Not just any love. This is not the lifestyle of the meek and affectionate. This demands a love so rich, so devoted, it borders on infamous, so fierce and forgiving and fantastic that the sheets snap and the masts bend and the whole ship rolls to the point you can taste the salt water of your tears. Our grace is that we have become skilled navigators, that we have a supportive crew of friends and family, that we know where to look for those red and green buoy lights to guide us back to the safety of shore. The bitch of it is that the tide relentlessly takes you away again. This isn't a military deployment that we just endure to the end of it. This is the unnatural insanity of saying goodbye to the person you love over and over and over and over. I'm not one to reduce our experience down to anything pithy, but there is a saying that gets passed around, long distance couples as a life ring of hope and endurance. It's true. We don't have it as easy as ordinary couples, but this is no ordinary love. There isn't much ordinary about us, is there? Not as individuals and not as a couple. That just might be what I love the most about being with you. You have been and always will be my extraordinary love. I am so proud of your professional accomplishments and service to your country and community. I am eternally grateful for how hard you work to provide for this family, scores of days strung together with no respite, through storms and pirates and problematic ports. I am moved beyond the words at what a wonderful father you are. I love the little moments too. When you turn your shoulders just so, as you view your reflection in the mirror before we go out on the town, checking the tailored custom cut of your fabulous plaid dinner jacket. When you stand in the yard in your dirty coveralls, gloved hands on your hips and sweat on your brow, checking the progress of your infallible maintenance of our home. When you tuck into the big chair with your mini-me, your legs sticking straight out on the ottoman, checking the cover of whatever bedtime story Max has picked. When your glance darts under your sunglasses, checking the flipped needle of the speedometer as we get wherever we're going in your Jag in 3.8 seconds flat. The curve of your bicep, the smell of your leather jacket, the perfectly mixed cocktail, the funniest jokes and smartest conversation, the twinkle in your beautiful blue eyes, the constancy of your love for me. I love you, husband. Always, Rebecca. I love that letter. I love you, Rebecca. And as I said, I have a lot of admiration for you. Sending your husband off to sea so many times throughout the year, and I don't know how you do it. So yeah, the sex must be pretty damn good. Anyway, let's get into it today. What are we going to talk about? I know what we can talk about. Excuse me. So this morning, I'm scrolling on Facebook and I come across a post from my daughter's boyfriend who has one of those really cool, fast, loud cars. and he loves it. It's his baby, it's his pride and joy, and I love that he loves it. And he works hard, so he deserves something like that. So he is trying to grow his online presence. I'm not sure, like, I don't know. He's trying to grow his online presence and, show off this car a little bit. And he put this video on there, and it said something about, if your child is walking by my car and he wants to look at it and sit in it, ask me. I would love to have your child, sit in my car. And in other words, he wants to share, that thrill, that loud muffler that when he hits that accelerator, that, instant speed when he hits that accelerator. And he did it, he posted this in a very loving way, right? Of course, you have your keyboard warrior who literally called him a pedophile because he said that a child could sit in his car. And I stood up for him, of course, and I said, not everybody's a pedophile. And honestly, that is what's wrong with social media today, okay? It has taken away the personal touch that we have with society, right? Obviously, you're going to have common sense when it comes to your children. And if there's a creepy guy asking you to come sit in his car, you're going to say no. But if you see a very well put together young man, probably with his girlfriend standing there or his very own daughter standing there, standing next to a shiny, nice car, and your daughter is like, oh, mom, or your son or whoever is like, oh, mom, look at that car. That's really cool. And my daughter's boyfriend says, hey, come over here and check it out. You're probably going to let him because he doesn't look creepy, right? No. There's some people that might argue with that, but no, I'm joking. I adore that man. And then there was another conversation I had with my daughter today, who she has a few cats, and she rescued these cats from the farm. They were born on my dad's farm, and they wanted an extra cat, or another cat, I guess. I'm not a cat person, so this is why you're kind of hearing this little tone in my voice. But anyway, they wanted this cat, and they went and picked one out, and they wanted an orange cat, so they got Tango. And of course, there was this gray cat that my dad was like, oh, him and Tango, they're pals. You have to take them both. And, my daughter's not going to say no to that. So they took both. And so they have Tango and they have Smokey. Now, Smokey, I'm pretty sure this cat is feral. And, that happens. When you get cats off of the farm, sometimes you just can't train them, right? So I think this is just a feral cat. And they're having a really hard time litter box training this cat. So, of course, as I would, my daughter's boyfriend, got fed up with it and said, we got to do something. We cannot live with this cat if it's not going to be litter box trained. And, maybe somebody else would have better luck with it. I don't know. So my daughter puts this post out there and says, hey, I need to rehome this cat. This is exactly what's happening. If you think you would have a good home for it, or you think you could help it, we just want to give it away. Would you believe the nasty private messages my daughter got about this cat? Like, I don't even know. Like, you're so bad, you're so terrible. Like, why would you give it away for free? Blah, blah. I mean, just nasty, okay? Nasty. We don't need to go into what they said. But here's my point. If you're sitting at your computer or on your phone, scrolling on your phone, and you want to make a comment on somebody's social media, here's the number one rule to follow. If you would not say that to that person's face, don't type it, right? Listen, and by saying that to that person's face, if you know the person, would you walk up to them and say it to their face? If that's the case, fine, put it on there. If you don't know that person, then of course you're not going to walk up to that person and say it to their face. Don't fucking put it on there. Don't put it on there. You don't know that person. You don't know their circumstance. I really think that social media has taken, some of the personality, some of the fear. People have like this buffer in between them, and it makes them think that they can say whatever they want, and it's making our society not good. Not good. So that's my 2 cents. That's my soapbox. That's it for the day. You guys have a great weekend. I should be back tomorrow. But yeah, thank you for listening. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I'm joking. And Rebecca, you are amazing. Once again, another beautiful love letter to your sweet, adorable husband. Yeah, you guys, thank you. Thank you for supporting this podcast. I love you. Pray for me. I pray for you every day. And we will see you tomorrow. Bye.